Hey, good morning. Happy Friday. Hopefully everybody can hear me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mellissa Hultstrand. I am the GED State Relationship Manager, so point person for GED when it comes to different aspects of the program in the state of Minnesota. And I'm happy to be here to deliver updates to all of you. So what I'm going to do is provide you with several different updates as we get started here. And I'll stop along the way to ask if you have any questions about the slides that I just covered. And towards the end, if we have any time, I'll just quickly review some best practices, reminders in terms of, processes, different processes, different tools or resources that could be helpful to all of you. So let's get started. Okay, the first update that I have is that we will have a Black Friday through Cyber Monday GED Plus promotion. This is where students will get $15 off a single subject and $75 off a GED Plus bundle. Now, I will say that most people, including students, are not aware of what GED Plus is. It's an option, it's a study option for those GED testers who don't want to work necessarily with a prep center because they don't have the time. They feel like they can handle this on their own. I'll briefly show you some information about what that GED Plus program includes, but if you have anybody that you're working with and they're letting you know that they're thinking that they won't be able to work with your prep center, here's a potential option for them. Grad Day. So every year GED has a grad day. It's usually in May, and we've decided that next year's grad day will be on May 17th. And for those of you who aren't aware of what we do have like a live stream where we celebrate grads, and we post messages from grads as well as adult education programs, organizations, teachers. And so just wanted to give you the heads up that the date is May 17th. We will have more details coming up, but starting in January, you'll have the ability to submit messages or videos if you'd like to start doing that. I also wanted to let you know that every year GED has a conference. This year it was in New York City. Next year it will be in Long Beach, California, from July 23rd to the 25th. And starting in January, we will have the sessions that we will be delivering posted for you to view, and registration will be available then. And just to let you know, majority of attendees are adult educators as well as state administrators. There are some support staff that attends, but majority of the sessions are PD sessions, and we have different tracks. Like for example, there's a corrections track. We have people from our assessment teams delivering sessions, as well as internal GED staff, as well as those that are working at local programs delivering sessions as well. So moving along to updates that we've had over the last few months. GED Direct is something that has been around for close to 2 years now, but it was primarily available to those with student authorized GED Manager access. But since September, so just 2 months ago, we've made it available to those who have corrections GED Manager access. So I don't think there's a lot of people that have corrections GED Manager access on this call in this session, but there's the potential that there are a few, so I wanted to let you know. And also wanted to let you know that those that have this option, probably it's best that you only purchase GED ready tests via this method, because when it comes to the way things are calculated in terms of pricing for a corrections test center, it might only make sense to purchase GED ready and not the actual test vouchers via this way. And if you'd like more information on this, happy to give that to you. I would just ask you to reach out to me, give me your 5-digit site ID number, and then I will find that information for you. But along the lines of those who have this corrections GED Manager access, the way that you would go about purchasing through GED Direct is by clicking on the buy, let's see here. Sorry, the buy button that you see here in the middle of your screen, or along the top blue navigation bar, you can select GED Direct, click on that drop-down arrow, and then select buy. So GED Direct for corrections, when it comes to assigning what you've purchased, wanted to let you know that you have the same ability to track what you've purchased in terms of who assigned it to the particular tester, what date, whether or not what you've assigned has been used. You'd see that information in the two fake candidates that I have below the blue bar here on your screen. And you also see that voucher listed. Now, for those that are purchasing this way in a corrections GED Manager access role, you actually have to take an extra step where you have to copy and paste the voucher that's listed, on the screen, and go into Registration Manager, go about scheduling a tester the way that you normally would. But then when it comes to payment, enter the voucher that you see listed, that you will see listed when you are using GED Manager access. Another update that I have for you with regards to GED Manager is that now you have the ability to view and print test history. And this is for pretty much all GED Manager users right now. This went live at the beginning of September. So you would pull up a tester's account the way that you normally do. And then you would scroll down below results and you'll see a tiny link there listed as view test history. Once you click on that, this is what you're going to see. So that test history page is only going to show, though, for valid GED tests. So if you know that the tester had a revoked test or GED ready test, or there were tests that were considered a no-show, those aren't going to be listed here. And I think the other important note here is that in this section, even if the tester hasn't credentialed yet, you are going to see the scores. And from here, you can click on the button titled Print Test History to print the page or close out and get back to that student detail page that you were on. So if you do decide to print, this is what the printed version is going to look like. It will have the tester's name, it will have the GED ID number, and those scores listed. If the tester has credentialed, you will see blue stars. Well, if you print it in color, if you print it in black and white, it will just be black stars. And those are there to indicate the tester's highest score in each of the 4 subjects. Another GED Manager update that we made is that when you pull up a tester in GED Manager, along the right-hand side of the screen, if they have selected the prep center, you will see that just like you did before, but right below that, you're now going to see the city. And the reason we've done this is because there are, some prep centers that have multiple campuses. And so it can be confusing for the educator to know or try to figure out, okay, but I see that they've selected this campus, but I'm not really sure, like, are they part of, which of the 7 campuses they're a part of? But now you will know because you will see the city for the selected prep center listed below. Another GED Manager update, although this one came towards the end of July, is that multi-factor authentication is here. So the one thing I wanted to express though is obviously those of you that are using GED Manager, have used GED Manager since the end of July, will know that this is a thing, but I wanted to let you know that if you don't want to use your phone number to authenticate, if you just want to use your email address, that is fine, you can do so. I know this is the preferred option for those that are in corrections. So just 2 brief screenshots here showing you, what it looks like to log into GED Manager. You have your email address, your password that you would enter, and then you're going to see this authenticate your account message, and that you have those 2 options. You can authenticate by email or you can authenticate by phone number. And if you'd like to switch from email to phone or phone to email, you can easily do that. I'm going to stop and see if there's any questions about what I said before I continue. Gail, Heather, do you see any questions in the chat? Probably not. Okay.
No, I don't. We don't have any right now.
Okay, no problem. So view data center transition, IP domain updates date. If you're working at a test center, if you are, test center personnel, well, then this is messaging that was sent at the beginning of August, and there's more messaging to come. I don't want to bore the majority of you that are on the call with this, but just wanted to let those of you who are on the call who work at a test center know that, again, this communication was sent at the beginning of August. And basically, Pearson VUE is looking to make updates in early 2024 that's aimed at enhancing technological capabilities, improving data security, that sort of thing. So this information should have been shared with your IT department. If you feel like it hasn't, please reach out to me and let me know. This slide is with regards to, that update. Again, because I don't believe that there are many people on the call who work at a test center, I'm not going to take the time to go through this, but it will be part of the slide deck, which will be made available to you after this session. Accommodations. So accommodations approvals are now valid for 2 years. So when an accommodation is approved for the first time, the accommodation expiration will default to 2 years instead of 1 year. So this was a change that was made in the summertime. And earlier this year, we did put the accommodations information in a more prevalent spot of our website. So if you're looking for it, just know that when you go to GED.com, along the top of the screen, you're going to see this about the test options, study, and we'll say grads and transcripts and blog. But if you click on about the test and scroll down, you will see accommodations listed. Another update that we made for you during the summer is we introduced the GED Student Handbook. And we don't have printed copies of this. If you'd like to access this, you could go to the educator portal of our website, or you could click on the link that's on this slide and it will take you there. And really, again, this was introduced in July of this year, and this handbook, like the title indicates, is geared towards GED students. Those that are part of an adult education program will find helpful information in it. Those who are working on earning their GED by themselves will find information that's helpful to them. It really is meant to be a companion to the passing the test brochure that a lot of you ask for, have on hand at your centers, to kind of go through, what is entailed in taking the GED with potential testers and their parents. So again, I would encourage you to take, a look at it. Here's an example. Here is a screenshot of the table of contents. So in terms of the different types of material that's available within it, we have a section on inclusion and belonging. We have a section about the GED student roadmap, some information that pertains just to those that are working on the GED by themselves. There's a GED student checklist, a state policy section as well, and information about that GED Ready practice test. Now, the GED Playbook is one that we introduced in July of 2022. Again, don't have printed copies of this, but if you want to access it, you could go to the link that you see at the top of your screen. And out of the two, that GED Handbook and then this GED Playbook, this is the one that pertains to most of you who are on this call. This is for adult education educators, managers, coordinators, directors, and it really is intended to assist in helping you navigate and understand the GED program. Again, this was the one that was released in July of 2022. So within it, you'll find helpful resources, helpful tools listed, and like I said, it's helpful to a variety of different groups, not just GED instructors. Okay. Just going to do a quick stop and see if there's any questions before I continue. No? Okay, so now students can take a learning preference assessment in their GED account. This is an update that was made to GED accounts in the spring of this year. So I don't think a lot of you on this call will get questions about it, but maybe you might hear some of your GED educators, wondering about it. And so just wanted to provide you with some brief information. So just like in the student accounts and in the educator portal of the GED website, there are lots of tools and resources that are there. This is one that's been added for students to use if they want to use it. So this is access to a learning assessment, and for students to access it, once they log into their GED account, they would need to click on the study option across the top of their screen. And once they do, if they have not taken this learning assessment, they're going to see an image like the one that you see on your screen right now, where it says, everyone learns and studies differently. Your assessment results will tell you how you study the best and match you to tools that align with your style. So the questions are set up in this format where students are presented with a statement, and then they have to pick the best answer that describes them. And they'll always have the 5 choices that you see here. Mostly disagree, slightly disagree, can't tell, slightly agree, mostly agree. So they click through those different questions, they answer it after they've gone through the entire assessment. Then when they go into the study section of their GED account, it's going to say, see your assessment results. So that's the way that they can always click on this button to view the assessment results. And there's one of 7 learning preferences that would be assigned to them after they take this. One of them is visual. And so if they do take the learning assessment, then it will state which learning preference is theirs. It will have a brief description of what it actually means, and then some tips for them to study and how to learn new information quickly. Now, for the teachers, for the adult educators who want to take a look at which learning style was designated to the tester based on the assessment that they took, they'll have the ability to see the result of that in GED Manager when they log in and they pull up the tester's account. It's actually right underneath where the prep center is listed for the tester. And for educators, if you click on this link that you see here on the screen, it will take you to this learning styles ebook, which has the 7 different learning styles listed and more information about each of them. So if you want to, you could click on the link that I just showed you here, or when you're in the educator portal, you could go to teaching resources, click on educator guides, and at the very bottom, click on learning styles ebook. This link that you see right here. And once you do that, you will be able to see more information about those 7 different learning styles. So more of a definition than what showed up in the tester's account about, in this case, interpersonal learners, their preferred study style, and different ideas when it comes to teaching technique. Again, just another tool and resource that's out there for those GED testers and GED educators who want to use it. I did state that once a student takes this assessment, that the learning preference will be listed in GED Manager, and this is where it's going to be listed, right below GED Test Prep Center. And here are the 7 different learning preferences listed here. Okay, so moving on, in-session educator newsletter. Now, this is the best way to get the GED updates, latest news on what's going on. And while the majority of the information in this educator newsletter is helpful to educators, I would still encourage support staff to sign up for this. It's a free newsletter. We email it to you once a month. Usually it's the 2nd Wednesday of each month. All you need to do to sign up is go to the educator portal of the GED website, scroll all the way down and you'll click on the blue sign up to get the latest news and resources. And then it's just going to ask you for your email, and then just be sure once you enter your email to click on sign up. In that newsletter that's sent out, like I said, majority of the information is geared towards educators. One of the helpful tools that's listed in there is information about the upcoming live Tuesdays for Teachers PD session. So if you hear, your colleagues who are educators that are looking for more tools and resources to help them better prepare their students for the GED test, maybe you want to ask them whether or not they're aware of that Tuesdays for Teachers webinar series. They have access to recordings for the last 2.5 years, and they can access them for free by clicking on the link that you see here, by going to our educator portal, by clicking on this link that you see here, or going to YouTube. If you're able to pull up the last 2.5 years of Tuesdays for Teachers webinars via that way as well. Here's a sampling of those different webinars. It covers a variety of topics, not just the 4 subjects that students are tested on when it comes to the GED test. And I think also, if you hear of students or teachers who, again, are wondering about, looking for more tools and resources to better assist them, maybe they haven't heard of the blog. The blog was introduced 1.5 years ago. It is available for you to access for free by going to the GED website and clicking on blog, as you see here. Lots of different articles, lots of different topics. You can see the topics listed on the right-hand side of the screen, and within each of these topics are several different articles, ranging from specific topics about each of the 4 subjects to more like other topics like passing the GED test, graduate stories, 5 tips to overcome failure and drive positive thinking. So again, it can be helpful to not just testers who are looking for more, but educators as well. Here's just an example of some of the math articles that show up if you were to just select math as your topic when you're looking at the blog. Here are just 2 of the articles that show up if you were just to click on RLA, on the RLA topic of the blog. And I'm just going to stop and see if you have any questions before I continue.
Mellissa, I don't see anything right now. I did go ahead and post a couple of links in the chat, one to the playbook and one to the handbook that you were talking about. And then just so everybody knows, all of the materials, the slide deck and all the links will be in the participant materials folder after each session. And I'll be resending out that link along with the evaluation and all the CEU information just during the last session of today. So everybody should have all of the links they need to access any information, as well as the session recordings will be available on YouTube after the conference. So all of that will be coming out later today.
Perfect. Thank you, Heather. So moving on, the mobile app. So for the last several years, we've been asked over and over again to work on an app. So we are doing that. We've been working on it for the last 1.5 years, and we are going to introduce it next year. So here's just a small sampling of what that will look like. Just so you know, there will be study content that will include free study questions, a question of the day, and the practice questions will be from several different publishers, not just one publisher. Again, you can see some of the screenshots here. Also, I think it's really important to emphasize 2 things. One, the learner will have the same account login for their GED.com account as they will for this app. They don't need 2 separate logins for it. The other thing I would stress is that testers will be able to use the app no matter where they are in their GED journey. So it's okay if somebody's almost finished, has almost earned their GED. They will find some tools and resources on the app that could be helpful to them. So again, mobile app is coming next year, most likely in the spring, and that number 2, same account login for GED.com as well as the app, and that all GED testers will be able to use the app, even if they've already started working on their GED. And I'm going to move on to pricing, vouchers, GED Direct, and GED Marketplace, because there are still so many questions coming in about these topics. So, just to start off with, what is the cost, right, in the state of Minnesota? So right now, $36 to take the test on computer, $36 to take the test via OP. But there's also a current state subsidy, which is a huge help to our testers. And so by using the code that you see in the top left-hand corner, the MNHSE free, state of Minnesota will pay for first test and each subject while funding lasts. Students just have to make sure, or whoever's helping them to schedule, make sure that they enter that promo code at checkout as soon as that payment section comes up. And there's different payment options, right? So if it's the first attempt on a particular subject for the tester, then they should enter that promo code, and that would cover the entire cost of the test. If it's a retest, like a retake, then the price is going to be different, but just want to emphasize that there's a variety of different payment options, right? So yes, there's the promo code, there is vouchers that you could use, there are credit cards, purchase order, line of credit, that sort of thing. And payment, it can be made using a combination of what's listed here on the screen. So it could be that a voucher is being entered, but there's still an amount remaining, and so credit card could be entered to pay that remaining amount. Where can payment be entered? So if the tester is scheduling their test through their account, then they would follow that process, click on schedule, answer all those questions, and then when the payment screen comes up, they would enter that information. But if the scheduling is being done by somebody who works in a Pearson VUE test center, then they are going to enter that payment information into the Pearson VUE system called Registration Manager. GED Direct and GED Marketplace. So it's really important to understand that there are some key differences between the two, but also that it doesn't mean that you should only use one versus the other. For a lot of organizations, it just makes sense to make purchases through both GED Direct and GED Marketplace. And I'll get to that here in a minute. But GED Direct and GED Marketplace are your two primary ways to order your test, your practice test vouchers. With GED Direct, you have to have a GED Manager account. With GED Marketplace, anybody can get onto GED Marketplace and place an order there. With GED Direct, all tests that you're purchasing are 100% off. There's no really need to keep track of vouchers and when they expire, because they don't expire. And it's very easy to assign what you've purchased through GED Direct to testers, to your students. In GED Marketplace, like I said, anybody can go to GED Marketplace. It could be a teacher, it could be a coordinator, it could be a parent, it could be a grandparent, it could be a tester. And minimum requirement for purchase when it comes to vouchers is 1. So very easy to do that. On GED Marketplace, there's more options for what you can purchase. On GED Direct, there's 3, right? So that's another thing to keep in mind. Also, what you purchase on GED Marketplace does expire, and all vouchers that you're purchasing are for the dollar amount that you've selected. Let's hone in a little bit just on GED Direct to make sure that you understand the difference between GED Direct versus GED Marketplace. So again, you have to have access to GED Manager. So whether that's student authorized view or corrections, you have the ability, if you have one of those types of GED Manager roles, to purchase GED test subjects as well as the GED Ready practice tests, and then assign them directly to the learners. With GED Ready, in GED Direct, you have that bulk tiered pricing. So the more you buy, the cheaper it is. But that's not the case for the actual test that you purchase that way. So I think with GED Direct, if you buy, like if you were to buy at least 100, it's $4. So that's something to keep in mind. So you're paying a lot less for it, but it covers the entire price of the GED Ready. GED Direct feature within GED Manager allows you to do this without voucher codes. There's no need to keep track as to who you assigned what you purchased to or when it might expire, because it doesn't expire. And so that makes things a lot easier. I would say that you also have the ability to run reports within GED Manager as to what has been designated or what has been assigned already, what has been used, what has not been used. If you assigned a GED Ready test to a particular tester and you see that they haven't used it, and recall that the actual tester no longer works with your prep center, that's okay. That doesn't go to waste. You can unassign and assign it to a different tester student that you're working with. And with GED Direct and GED Marketplace, multiple ways to make that purchase. It's not just credit card that you need to make the purchases there. GED Direct, you log in, you click on buy over here or along the top of your screen, click on GED Direct, click on the drop-down arrow, then select buy. And like I said, right below that, it says manage assignments. That's where you would go to see how many of what you bought has been assigned, how many of them have been used, when were they used, that sort of thing. There is this GED Direct guide. It's a helpful reference guide in terms of, like, if you don't have experience with GED Direct, want to make sure that you're following the steps correctly, this guide is available for you. Now, GED Marketplace. If you go to GED Marketplace, you can see the link across the top of your screen. When you get to GED Marketplace, you're going to see GED test vouchers listed as an option on the left-hand side of your screen. Once you click on that, you're going to see a map of the US. So then you would select Minnesota. It's really important you select the correct state because pricing is different from state to state throughout the US, different options depending upon the pricing rules. So please be sure to select Minnesota. Once you do, you'll see these different options. So a key difference is here, you could see that you have the ability to purchase a GED Ready for the $6.99 or a GED Ready for all 4 subjects at $22.99. So remember I said with GED Direct, if you purchase GED Readies through that way, you have that bulk tiered pricing for GED Ready. Here you don't though. If you're purchasing any GED Ready vouchers on Marketplace, you're going to pay that full price. So you really need to, that's why I say a lot of organizations, it works best if they're purchasing some through GED Direct and some through GED Marketplace. And it might be that there's a publisher out there that's able to give you a better rate on the GED Readies than what's listed in GED Direct. And so by all means, then you should, take advantage of that. If a cheaper option exists for you. But again, just wanted to point out between the two, if you're looking to purchase GED Readies, it's best to do it through GED Direct. Also with GED Marketplace, you can see there's more options here, right? If you're in GED Direct, you can only get GED Readies, you can get the computer-based test at regular price, and you can get the OP test at regular price. Here for Minnesota, I believe there's 9 options. So you have your GED Ready for 1 subject, your GED Ready for all 4 subjects. If you just need like a $20 voucher or a $10 or a $16 or a $6, it's here for you to purchase. And again, minimum order is 1 for any one of these that are listed here. So let's just see important information. What have I not said here about vouchers, GED Direct and GED Marketplace that I've said already that would be helpful for you? I think I've repeated this. Yep. What you buy on GED Marketplace will expire. But here's the thing. If you buy on GED Marketplace, just reach out to me. Try to do it like about 2 months in advance before the vouchers are going to expire. Attach a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet to the email with the list of unused vouchers. And I will ensure that those vouchers are extended for you if they haven't expired, or we'll get them renewed for you if they have expired, because you've already paid for them, right? And if they're not used, you don't want that to go to waste. So just send me an email. You'll see my email address here shortly. I believe it's on the next screen. Oh, no, I'll be getting to it. But you'll send me that email, and then I'll forward it to a particular team to take care of that for you. The one thing that I would emphasize is when those emails come to me, how quickly they can get taken care of depends on all the other requests that have come in before you. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, it is much easier to extend a voucher than to renew it. And so we have to renew it if it's not used and it's expired, because we have to create a brand new voucher, a different voucher number to replace each one of those that you're submitting and asking for help with. So that's why I ask if you could just, if you are purchasing vouchers through GED Marketplace, to just kind of keep an eye on when they are going to expire, and about 2 months prior, reach out and have us take care of that for you. Oh, the other thing I was going to say about GED Direct is that we have received so many requests from GED Direct users to allow what we would refer to as grouping. So grouping in GED Direct will allow purchasers to assign a certain amount of purchase vouchers to an instructor or a group of instructors or multiple sites, instead of allowing those you are sharing with access to the total amount of vouchers that you purchased via this method. And this is coming in the spring of next year. So for example, if you purchased 500 vouchers, but you're purchasing for 5 sites, you'll be able to assign however many vouchers you want to each site and or each GED instructor you're sharing vouchers with. So you could assign 100 to each of the 5 sites if you want, or break it up however you want to. This will block those you are sharing with access to the other 400 you purchased. So again, for all of you who have asked for that, that's coming. I think there was going to, I heard somebody's voice. I think there's a question. Maybe not. Okay, I'll just continue here. So along the lines of GED Direct and GED Marketplace, if you've never placed an order through either of these methods, I would encourage you to take a look at this document before you do. I will make it available with the PowerPoint to Gail and Heather. And this, if you're going to make a purchase through GED Marketplace, you have the 3 different options here. Click on the option that you think you're going to be making the purchase through, and it will give you information specific to that. And it does the same thing for GED Direct. Here's just a screenshot of the first page of this document. Oh, and here's my email address up here. Just again, emphasizing that when it comes to unused vouchers, recently expired or about to expire, please, reach out. And it's really important that those unused vouchers are listed on a spreadsheet, like an Excel spreadsheet, instead of just listed within the email. That's key too. I'm going to stop and see if you have any questions.
Mellissa, I don't see any questions, but Laura had a couple of comments, and this was a little bit ago in your session, but she just said, please remind the OP proctors that tribal IDs are legit in Minnesota.
Yes. Yes. So with regards to that, yes, if you know that a student is going to be using a tribal ID, please send me an email to let me know that that's what they're going to be using, as well as the date that they're scheduled to test. Ideally, it would be great if this is if you're sending me the email at least 1 week prior to when the test is scheduled, because what we're going to do on our end is create like an exception, a notification for the proctor to become aware that when this particular tester shows up for their OP test, that this tribal ID is okay for them to show. But we need that email to come through with a picture of the tribal ID, with the GED ID number of the tester, and the date that they are going to be taking the test. And so once I get that I send it off to a different team. A case is created, and actually the tester themselves will get that case ID number. So when it comes time to taking the OP test, they get on the computer, they show the tribal ID. That proctor should be aware that it is okay for this tester to show that tribal ID. But let's say they say, well, no, like I don't see anything here that you're allowed to use it. Then that student can list that case number to the proctor. Thank you, Laura, for that reminder.
And then she just followed up, Mellissa, with what you're saying, that it's difficult to know 1 week in advance. Ideally, yes. Realistically, it's difficult.
Yes, and what I would say to that, though, if you're sending me the email today to say that they're scheduled tomorrow or on Monday, it's almost impossible for us to pull that off and get the notification to the proctor in time. So the more notice that you can give me, like in terms of sending me that email, because I can't create it, I've got to send it to another team for them to do the work. So ideally the more time the better, but I do understand, but I will say that if you're sending me the email today and the test is already scheduled for 1 or 2 days out, most likely we cannot get that case created in time.
And then I have another question for you. Is digital ID an acceptable form of identification? How about a copy of foreign passport along with proof of residency?
So digital ID, no. A photocopy of a passport, you said?
Yeah, a copy of a foreign passport along with proof of residency was the second part of that question.
So I know for computer-based testing, a copy of a passport is not going to work, but you could show an actual passport, but then you have to show something else that has all the other components of what they're looking for ID. So it's like the passport in combination with something else. If I'm not sure who's asking the question, but if they're asking because they know that a particular tester only has a passport to show and maybe some other possibilities, they could reach out to me and kind of explain what the tester has, and then I can do a check and see if what they have would be acceptable.
Okay, and then there was one last question from Darla, and then Brandy already responded, but I just want to make sure it's part of the recording in case somebody watching this back has the same question. She just asked if tribal IDs are acceptable in person in the testing center, and Brandy followed up with, yes, we allow tribal IDs at our
100%, yes. So yep, at the computer-based test centers, they've been informed that they're supposed to accept that. And I would say if a tester arrives at a computer-based test center and they're told that isn't the case, they're given the wrong information. That's one of the accepted IDs at a computer-based test center in Minnesota.
Hey, Mellissa, it's Brandy, and I don't know if you mind if I chime in.
Yeah.
It's really helpful if everyone here on this call and even at your program to log into GED or Pearson VUE and look up Minnesota specific ID policy, because not only do we allow tribal IDs, but we also allow any IDs coming out of corrections for individuals, as long as they have the appropriate corrections ID. So there is several different styles of ID that we allow at the computer base. And then some of those do not correlate over to the online proctored, as Mellissa had mentioned. So it's always beneficial to just update yourself with the policy, possibly have it printed. So when you are aiding students and helping them create their accounts and even helping schedule their tests, then you can go over those eligible IDs. So that is just something that I really highly recommend to everyone.
Yeah, if you're not sure, reach out to us and ask. That's your bet. Like if the tester's not sure, if you're not sure, best thing you can do is just to reach out. And if you don't see it specifically, like whatever particular ID or card that they have, if it's not like specifically stated like on the website, reach out and ask us.
And there have been instances where we've even been able to approve with Pearson VUE's aid with Mellissa and her team, Other forms to prove identification, those are one-off situations.
Yes.
So if you have a student that just doesn't have that traditional form of identification, don't feel like they are completely without the ability to test. Reach out to us at the state. We are on constant communication with Mellissa in trying to make sure that testers can test in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, and in that case, an exception will be created, to that, to the ID policy. So yes, I would second what Brandy has to say there. Any other questions? And I'm just wondering, how am I for time here?
We've reached the end of the session.
Okay, no problem. Well, I would just encourage you, if you have any other questions that come to mind, please do not hesitate to reach out. Here's my email address, and happy to hear from you. Whatever questions I can answer, I will respond, give you that answer. If I don't know the answer, I will get you the answer. And again, just want to thank you for attending this session, but most of all for the work that you do with for the GED testers, for the GED educators. It's amazing all that you're able to accomplish. And I know that it's really hard, especially in this day and age where there's just huge staffing shortages across the board. So thank you for your time, and happy Thanksgiving.